Why do you think the chicken crossed the road?
To get to the other side. It's like that's my go-to, you know? Why else would you freaking cross the road? So that is like where I'm at.
So just for Scotoma, since I think you got me this sweatshirt. Is that correct?
I did.
Yes. Thank you very much. And
You're welcome.
I have two like Mr. Scotoma sweatshirts. I'm like deeply searching for the other one in the world. I'm not quite sure where that could possibly be. Yes. So we need like more Mr. Scotoma sweatshirts, and God only knows what insane challenges a sweatshirt can get themselves into. But yes, that is like present for me. So yes, good morning to all. And the question of why the chicken crossed the road is a perfect jump off point, Fernando, in stepping into my inner Yoda-ness, because it comes down to, at some level, the question of the stories we create about ourselves and other people. So it's just like a story of why the chicken crossed the road. And there's endless amounts of stories that we can create around why it did or why we do or don't do things. So those are my thoughts. It's an amazingly in-depth perspective on the psychology of humanity and chickens like coming together. So that is present for me. So AG, are you out there, brother?
I am out here.
I was worried that you were once again sleeping late, not getting things done.
Typical AG.
Adam, we have to have an intervention with you. The idea that you are consistently sleeping beyond like your alarm clock, never on time and showing up for things, starting your day late is a very serious problem. And Adam, as a leader of this organization and this movement, how can you be living in such a way? What do you have to say for yourself, Adam Gugino?
I have to say that here's what I'll say. Yesterday, 6 a.m. until 12:30 at night.
Yes, I love you, brother. I could not be more grateful. And for anybody listening going, I don't want to do what you lunatics are doing, and saying, we're not doing this forever. Like, we're doing this to create something that doesn't exist. And the brotherhood and sisterhood, because you got Lorelai getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Tiffany Armstrong got some West Coast maniacs. Gina, Nicole, Kathleen, Miles, Chaz, Matt, like lunatics showing up all over the place at super early hours every single day. And I'm sure I did not, Lily, right? So thank you for everybody for what you're doing to make.
Here's just a fun fact on that. The other day, Adam and I were trying to schedule a phone call, and we're like, yeah, let's just do 6 a.m. as if like that's normal. We're like, yeah, the only time we have is 6 a.m. So let's just do that.
Yeah, no, it is. You know, it goes back to like the David Goggins world. Like when you create proximity, this becomes normalized. Like we've normalized the not normal, you know, and when you want to create uncommon outcomes, and this is a perfect segue from last night into this morning. Okay. When you want to create uncommon outcomes, you have to do uncommon things. And we were having a conversation in our internal Unblinded team chat this morning, team discussion meeting. And we're at the topic of like, why is Oprah? And we live, and Rob Gill coined the amazing phraseology of this is what it looks like. And if Rob's out there, let's bring Rob up live this morning as well. This is what it looks like. And what Rob means when he says this is what it looks like is it doesn't look like that jersey on the wall. Like there's a 1980 Miracle on Ice jersey signed by the team when they won the gold medal. And I don't want to be graphic, but it pops for me and I'm just going to roll with it. It looks like people like vomiting on the ice in a dingy arena somewhere with Herb Brooks blowing the whistle and them saying again, and doing another sprint across the ice when they felt like they were literally going to die and could not do another one. It looked like two guys fighting on the ice, teammates punching each other in the face out of like anger, resentment, because they came from two competing rival colleges. It didn't start with 21 or 22 young men standing on a podium, hugging each other, hysterically crying. It didn't start there. It started by doing the absolutely unreasonable, the absolutely uncommon, and those uncommon young men met many less uncommon. people. And those are the people that didn't make the team. Those are the people that left and said, these people are nuts. They're not going to ever beat the Soviets. Screw Herb Brooks. Screw this. It's not going to work. And there are a lot more of those people than there were the people standing on the podium.
I got one for you on that, Sean.
Go ahead.
I know you'll love it. You like to bring these days up. I like to hide them away, but I will definitely. This is a definitely an opportunity to talk about the sandbar days where when we were doing 5,000 people a night and people were, kind of screaming my name and wanted to get in. You said, oh my God, this is so magical. And this is amazing. And this is incredible how you get to do all this. And meanwhile, for the weeks leading up to it, before there was social media, before there was really even texting, I mean, this is early 2000s, late 90s. The way it got done was by waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning and putting flyers on cars, on college seats in college classrooms, college cars, driving around, putting flyers in tanning salons, putting them out at gyms throughout the day. And then at night, standing outside of clubs and places and handing out flyers and having them thrown back in your face for probably 3 weeks straight, barely sleeping. So all of that great fun and excitement that was created was created through some arduous tasks that nobody wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we did it ourselves, of course.
Yeah. Adam was not ecosystem merging back then.
No. Oh, no. There was a massive amount of ecosystem merging because we also brought 30 of the most popular people throughout all of the towns to the club before it ever opened to show them how amazing it looked, and had them go over everything as well.
AG dropping in on ecosystem merging. It is October 1987. The clock winds down and the referee hits the gun and the game is over. Fence crashes and onto the Hasbrook Heights football field on Route 17 in New Jersey come pouring the Emerson Cavo fans. I did not score a touchdown in the game. It was the only game my senior year I did not catch a pass. Played offense and defense every single play, didn't come off the field. And when Chris, and I, two of my best friends from early childhood, immediately found each other with people jumping all over the screaming, yelling, and the three of us were hugging each other, weeping. Not like tears in our eyes, weeping, convulsively weeping. And the only thing we could find our way to say is we did it, we did it, we did it, we did it, we did it. And we didn't just do it for ourselves, we did it for all those people. And our whole team did it. We did it for the players that were hurt, including our buddy Roy, who was our quarterback, best friend, and who wouldn't be able to play in that game, but if we won that game, could come back and play in a bigger game. And that moment blew away when I had a tryout with the Mets and played in Shea Stadium and had a phenomenal day. It beat when I scored the game-winning run in an all-star game in Yankee Stadium. It beat any individual athletic accomplishment I ever had, any moment where I was the guy. When I caught later at the end of that season, when I caught the game-winning touchdown pass from Roy in the championship game, culminating what we hoped to do, crying on that field at Hasbrook Heights, that was not nearly as meaningful. Because I thought we were going to win that game. Against Hasbrook Heights, nobody gave us a chance. And it brought, in that moment, it brought up every memory of all the times in the summer we lifted when nobody else was lifting. It brought up all the times we ran when nobody else was running. It brought up every moment we had parties on Friday nights in the beginning of September and October and all the way through, and none of us drank a sip of alcohol. And we obeyed curfew. And we followed the process. it brought up the fact that when we were 12 and 13, we would go to the games and watch the seniors who were carrying the torch for our town. And we would pretend that we were those guys when we played pickup football. And their names are people like Bill Tubner and Sean Carpenter and Chip Barker and Tom Giuliano. And we'd watch them like they were gods on that field. And we didn't dream of being gods on that field. We dreamt of having the privilege and the honor of carrying that legacy forward and protecting it. Something larger for ourselves. And the building and the exiting from Callagy Law, right? Law office is showing Callagy, firm number 1. Not for 1 minute carried the energy of that moment. Not for 1 minute. Because I learned pretty quickly that to build that first firm to a 40-person firm and exit was actually quite easy in comparison. Now, the top 100 verdict carried that same kind of energy. But it took me from 1987 to 2016 to have a comparable weeping moment with the likes of Michael Smikin, Chris Miller, Robert Solomon, Taylor, Dolly, Sam Saltman, and Chris Young, and the incredible team that we co-created that outcome with, because we did what seemed to most to be impossible. And I share that because for many who have never gone all in at something, like all in, and made unique sacrifices and are around a lot of beautiful, amazing, loving souls, like my family, my grandmother's, like the paradoxes, right? The inconsistencies and hypocrisies of like, you can be anything, you can do anything on the one hand, and the other hand is, why are you working so hard? Be careful, like don't lift too much, don't run too much, don't work too hard. You got to worry about your health. You got to be concerned about all these things, right? In love. But sometimes people who love us forget what it looks like. And we're in the middle of like throwing up on the ice or sleeping 3 hours a night with tears, not of joy, of pain, like coming into our eyes, waking up because it hurts so badly, which is what I did with Michael Smikin and Chris Miller and Robert Solomon and that team. Every single bit of it was worth it. And for all of those winning stories, I have the stories where it didn't go the way we hoped. And I don't regret a single one of them. The only ones that if I could go, and I believe that God makes all things work together for good, I would go back if I could change, are those moments when I chose the path of not following through at the highest level and giving every bit of me. The payoff is unquestionably worth it. And I hold no judgment for those that don't choose that pathway. But putting ourselves out there, unified with other incredible, like-minded people, like we are here together, there's nothing else like it in the world. It took me from 19, and now I'm going to say things that are going to easily be distorted. And if you want to choose to distort, go ahead. But my preference will be you don't, but that's your call. There's nothing more magical that's ever happened in my entire life than the birth of my children. And co-creating moments like I just described with them and their friends and them going all in, those were the most magical moments I saw, where they loved themselves, their life, like they were living in magic. They were out on the branch where few people dare to walk. Like few people dare to walk. And my son, Tyler, had to really fight and battle and compete to make some of the teams he made. And then he stepped into situations and worked on his self-mastery and the feelings that it brought up for him of overcoming, which is amazing. And we are not confusing accomplishment with like loving yourself. We should all love ourselves at all times, no matter what. When we talk about magic, it is rooted first in loving yourself, but second, in realizing that growth is a real thing. And our ability to lean in and to grow is one of the most unbelievable, unique accesses. And I think the balance of growth, connection, and love, because growth without love is nothing. But love gets created around co-creation. Like there's love in doing things together. There's love in raising children together and facing the challenges of life. There's love in building things that people can't think can be built together. And the choices we make in and around those balances, like in having those things, it's a remarkable and unreal thing. And the birth of my children, which of course I didn't carry them, so I'm talking from a male perspective, of course. I'm not even going to step into the frame of having a child physically as a woman, right? But those moments for me felt like immense gratitude for God, for the health of my children, all those things. And it felt like, you know, it doesn't take a lot for a male to have a child. Not speaking to women. Like 15-year-old kids have kids. What takes something is everything that happens from there. And the magic we create in the investment, the sacrifice, the risk of what other people define as failure, the risk of what other people, not us, would define as rejection, the risk, like last night on the call, with all of you amazing people that participated, and if you missed it, we'll share in a second, to put out publicly what you believe your value that you can create and give, and your share of it would be in 5 years. Now that's a something. Now that's something because you put yourself at stake. And there was fear, and there was dynamics, and there was energy. But that's exactly what the people behind me, Muhammad Ali, Herb Brooks, Miracle on Ice, my Uncle Jimmy, those skis up there when he went back to medical school and he did the impossible and came from like nowhere, no money, nothing, blind father, and ended up turning down Harvard for his residency because Jules Stein at UCLA was better in retina at that time. And to do the impossible. And that's why those skis are up there. They're up there in memorial. My Uncle Jimmy was tragically killed in an accident rear-ended by a tractor trailer in 1998. But there is a reminder, an energetic space for the magic and the incredible nature of human potential. And the richness of those moments of sharing, of love, of contribution, of stepping into our fear is what we're all here to collectively do together. And I cannot thank you all who were there last night and participated for what we co-created last night. And the energy around it and about it, words cannot effectively capture. But thank you. And so, and I want to give everybody the opportunity, maybe not come forward this morning, but drop in the chat, who wasn't there last night in a second. But Adam, what was present for you does not carry, like, because we could say phrases that could become overused and then like dilute their energy and meaning. So when I say what was present for you, I mean in your heart, your soul, your being, the energy, like what was your experience? Because you stepped into it at the end because you had a beautiful call and you're working your tail off. What was the energy that you felt? Like what was there for you in that experience last night?
It really made me think about how I would have answered the same question the day before yesterday's unreal day. And I would have given a number that was probably a tenth of, or maybe less than what it was a day later. So when I thought about what had been created in my mind over limiting beliefs or what I could accomplish, how much that could change within one day, I then thought about what 5 years was like. And then I thought about what 1 week and 1 month and 1 year. And then when I thought about 1 day, I thought of it as 1 month. And then I thought of the month as a year. And then I thought of 5 years as 5 lifetimes.
Amazing, brother. You know, Bruce Springsteen played in bars for 10 years, relentlessly, night after night. And he had drinks thrown at him. He had people tell him he sucked. He had people tell him he couldn't sing. He had people tell him, why is that dude in the band? This should be the person. Like, that is what it looked like. He had a manager, a big time guy, come in. And it's like, this is going to be it. Like, late in the game. I think it was somewhere around year 8. The person came in. He was so fired up. He played, he played, he played, he played. And as Bruce shares the story, do you know what happened, Adam, with that manager, that person who was going to sign him and take him everywhere?
Please share.
He slept with his girlfriend and left.
Wow. That I did not know.
Yes. So, like, imagine that moment. Like, imagine that night. Imagine the next day when 8 years into investing your soul into a dream and you think this is it. And some dude comes in, however, what dude number that was, promising you stuff that wasn't going to be delivered. And then your girlfriend cheats on you with this guy. Like, imagine the next day when Bruce Springsteen woke up, what he was feeling and thinking about himself and his dream. Like, imagine that moment.
I could only imagine it being the absolute depth of the lowest place, the most difficult place to come out of. I know that feeling too well, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
Yeah. Me neither. As do I. And the space, like, that we're talking about, is that's what it looks like. And are you willing to go through hundreds of things that do not operate and go the way you want to get there? Because if Bruce Springsteen knew the formula, things would happen a lot faster. I guarantee it. Guaranteed. Like, there just wasn't optics on how to do these things. Like, he didn't have that mapping. But he had all the fire, the passion, the emotional and energetic transference, and he shaped his influence mastery beyond belief. Tony Robbins spoke 3 times a day. Tony Robbins had a fight to get into an NLP room being taught by Bandler Grinder. He was rejected. He was said to get out of here. They were pissed off because he went out and took action right away and started, like, not just listening intellectually, and he started grabbing, like, phobics and people with issues and helping them create breakthroughs and acceleration. He challenged people over the radio, said, come down here, give me your worst patient, I will do it. He didn't even know if he would succeed or not. He had sessions where the fire marshals shut down the firewalk when he had like 100 people at a hotel in Canada, and he put the people on buses and drove them back across the border every night to do the firewalk and drove them back over the border. And everybody's like, oh my God. Like, imagine, look at all this. Imagine, and there's 2 big mistakes that people make in the space of duplication acceleration. First, they think that the other person was just so blessed and gifted and they could never achieve it. Like, I could never be Oprah. I could never be Bruce Springsteen. I could never be, Jeff Bezos or Mark Benioff, or I could never be Beyonce, like, Tony Robbins. Well, of course you can. Like, of course you can. In your way, in your vertical, in your thing, of course you can. And maybe in their thing, right? Number 1, just have the model. There's a formula. But number 2, sometimes people think, I could be that person. I could do what they're doing. I've had that happen a lot. But if you're going to say that, you gotta model and do the steps because you don't just get to jump on the podium. And by the way, that's not pay your dues. I don't want anybody to pay their dues. Like model so you can go faster. But if you're going to model and go faster, you can't delete, dilute, and distort. Modeling is an accelerant. I'm not a fan of pay your dues. I am a fan of you got to model and accelerate. And if you to accelerate, and if you delete, dilute, and distort, like if you don't put time in and create all the shortcuts, that's why it's like, hey, watch videos of Malcolm X speak, shoot your videos every day, build your speaking platform. Those are necessities. Those are necessities. We didn't say like walk uphill in the snow carrying like, packs on your back, barefoot. We didn't say that. We don't want anybody here paying their dues. We do, though, the formula demands that you model without deletion, dilution, distortion. So it's like fill your real raw. It's like, oh, I want to do this. I could do anything. And you can't fill your real raw. Like that's a challenge. Or if you want to skip that, great. Then can you fill a speaking engagement with hundreds of people or over 1,000 people? Can you do that? If you can, then you can skip steps. But if not, you can't skip steps and delete, dilute, distort. You don't have to read all the books that we read. You don't have to do that. We condensed years into the formula. But that second mistake is deleting, diluting, and distorting from modeling that would cause the acceleration, but leaving pieces out that destroy the acceleration. So it is Why Wednesday. And I want to ask you the question, drop in the chat. From your heart, not your head, presuming like how is taken care of. You're not thinking of how. Just the energy, the being, the value you can create inside of yourself, inside of you, all of you. What is the value, your share of the value defined as your net worth in 5 years from now? Like you're going to create value. You have a formula. You have your heart, your being, your soul, your energy, your intelligence, all the things you possess. Knowing the power of exponentiality, compounding, acceleration, not thinking of it in terms of a company or companies, just the value you're going to create in the world. What is your net worth going to be in 5 years? The energy around this is palpable. Money carries layers of stuff. Free yourself of those layers. Step in boldly with no sense of how, just what is that value you create in the world and what is your share of it? Share that in the chat if you're bold enough. Okay. With that, do we have real quickly the former sales gangster, now sales sorceress, Bella Verita? Is Bella out there? Adam Franda?
I believe Bella is on the call, which you got to give a second to get her live. So team, if you wouldn't mind just bringing Bella Verita.
Okay. Well, we're doing
she's
that.
here.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bella. How are you?
I am amazing. And just so you know, no one is playing small over here. So I just declared 5 billion.
You're declaring 5 billion.
5 billion.
5 billion.
Someone accused me of playing small, and I don't play small.
Yes. We're definitely not having Bella Verita playing small.
No.
So, Franda, if you could drop in with some other numbers in the chat, take a quick peek if anybody else is sharing. So, Bella, how did that exercise feel for you? Like what was there for you as we begin to wrap up for a close? Money has layers. We're going to be anchoring on money, mixed associations, value exchange, agreement formation. This is going to be a theme we're carrying through this week into next. What's there for you around those dynamics?
Well, I love money a lot. And I love all the things that money can do. And I love asking for money. It's probably my favorite thing in the whole world to do. And so I love like just up leveling it's exciting. When I was, someone told me I was playing small, it was like, let's go. Like there's no limitation.
That's awesome. And do you think money loves you? Do you think money is drawn to you, attracted to you?
Absolutely. So I do I do an exercise with all of my sales agents when they come on, and where they, like, this is so Bella, but it is what it is. I have all of my sales agents do an exercise where they make love to money to create that relationship with money.
I did not know this was going there.
I know,
Like, I did
but
not
it's
know.
a real thing. It's I know. Did I find another word?
No, that's a better word. I think that, yes, I will keep it there. That is preferential.
But I know that, like, to turn you over, you're so red. But I realize I do, like, if you ask any of my agents, it's always an exercise that literally, like, has changed their, in all honesty, and, like, in, you know, and this isn't fun, but, like, it is literally an exercise that changes their life.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is disruption of association around money and
Yep.
creating like a true flow, a depth of connectivity,
Yep.
a like connection to value of it, right? And for all those that are biblical out there, I lean
It
into.
sounds so different when Sean says it. So that's the same thing. I am officially.
Thank you. That was awesome, Fernanda. Right. And so, yes, the Bible speaks into the love of money being the root of all evil. And I think the value that we're talking about, I'm not trying to rewrite scripture and get into anything spiritual. Well, I'm not. My reconciliation is there's a lot that speaks into in all faiths, the power of abundance and the power of integrity and the power of creation and the power of impact. And living a capitalist structure as we do, my choice of belief structure is that we can do so much good by harnessing the value of green paper and what we could do with it from there. And we could have a lot of fun, and we could share a lot of fun and create a lot of magic and draw people together to make incredible things happen. And a lot can be done wrong with it, super clear, but the integrity piece is what sits around that dynamic for the creation, conveyance of value. Bella, as usual, that wasn't quite all of the exact direction I was expecting, but you never fail to disappoint with your disruptive and fun energy. So that was truly amazing. I love the 5 billion-ness of your stepping in. And final, did you always have that feeling and association around money, or is it something you had to shift at some point? Because I also know that you have such a free flowing relationship with money that you've left a lot of money and value behind because the immense certainty you have about its recreation capability. So you're also not somebody who is in scarcity, chase, pursuit, scratching, clawing over money. Like it seems like you're in flow about money. Fair, not fair?
Yeah, that's definitely fair. Like, I have definitely, you know, like you said, I've left money on the table. You know, in the 2008 crash, I lost 3 houses, 3 cars, like lost everything. Never had to file bankruptcy, but I've definitely, you know, I have been in places where, you know, there was scarcity at times. And
well, that is awesome. And you have a massive feeling of abundance. And I'm going to also now ask that for your heart and for your softening around the awful and horrific thing that you are intending upon making me do tomorrow. Is there any ability we have to make that not a reality for tomorrow?
no.
Whoa.
So what is going to be happening tomorrow, Bella Verita, as we take it home?
So tomorrow, Sean Callaghy, from morning till night, all day, all 16 hours of the call, no hat, no doing of the hair, no hoodies, nothing covering the head at all. Everybody gets to see you in your, like, true state of hair flowing just as it is, like bedhead all day.
Bella, I want to acknowledge the intention and specificity of your language. It was amazing.
And that is due to a bet that I lost. And Jack Tavares, who, by the way, let's just bring Jack up for 10 seconds to end this, because I love him. I am pissed at him for like conspiring and collaborating in this insanity. But he had one thing to add off of last night, which I think was super powerful around money. That was epically phenomenal. So Bella, you are a kind-hearted and cruel person simultaneously. Thank you.
My pleasure, my friend. My pleasure.
Good morning, everyone.
JT, what's up, brother? And I am not confused about your conspiratorial dynamics.
I don't know what you're talking about. You just took it. The call just went longer than it was supposed to.
My brother.
So what I texted Sean last night after the call was, and I want you guys to really think about this and let it sink in, is the conversation of money has nothing to do with money. All right. The conversation of money, whatever story you created based on a programming, based on experiences that you had as a kid, based on experience. Like if in doing this exercise, if it knocks you up and if it gets you super uncomfortable, there's something there to look into a little bit further. Because in practicing, like one thing, Sean, I heard you talk about Muhammad Ali. I heard you talk about your baseball experiences. Heard you talk about when you started the law firm. You know, when you're talking about Oprah, when you're talking about Jay-Z, when you're talking about all these big time people, one thing that they had in common, all of them, is they always visualized. Just like Jim Carrey when he wrote the check to himself for $5 million before he landed any gig. They visualize, and you probably did it as well when you were going into a baseball game. You didn't go in going, well, today maybe I'll get on base. Maybe I'll get a walk if I'm lucky. It was visualized success, like standing in future fulfilled, what that looks like. And I practice walking through that on a daily basis with myself. So when I talk about I'm going to get $1 billion, I'm not even nervous at all about it. It's because I've seen it so many times play through my mind and how it's going to get there. And if you guys get a chance, watch Queen's Gambit on Netflix, and she walks through her chess matches every time she plays. She visualizes the success before it actually happens. And that's the key to it, because money is like a cat. If you chase it, it'll run. Yeah. But how you attract money when you have the tuna sitting on your lap is that value proposition, walking through those scenarios, creating those scenarios, visualizing them. And in that conversation about money that you get knotted up in your stomach will disappear. And that's what I got.
Jack, love you, brother. To your point, I've seen the movie The Natural hundreds of times. $10, 16 years old, Mike Bagley, the beginning of my consciousness in the space of personal development was a course in imagery and visualization. That led to, right, my junior year. I didn't start varsity as a sophomore. Ken Van Loo, maybe better than anybody will understand what this means. Maybe Joe Hagan, Rob Gill a little bit. I hit 8 home runs in 25 games of my junior year of high school. And I had days in practice where the coach made me stop taking batting. I was 175 pounds, probably 172 pounds. Made me stop taking batting practice because I hit 10 balls in a row out and we had woods behind the field. I was losing all the baseballs. True story, right? Didn't start as a sophomore. After imagery and visualization, before every game, every morning, I would wake up and watch Roy Hobbs in The Natural win the game at the end, hitting the home run. I had tapes of Rod Crew hitting base hits down the left field line, 100 consecutive swings, imagery and visualization tapes, over and over and over. And here's the idiocy of me.
Sean, how high was your confidence?
It was ridiculous. But watch this, Jack. Here's the idiocy of us and our self-mastery. My senior year, I stopped watching the tapes. I stopped doing imagery and visualization.
You stopped visualizing.
In my senior year, I hit 1 home run and I was already going to Columbia. I was committed to breaking the home run record. You know, I had these goals written. I stopped doing my imagery and visualization, got in my head. I had 5 home runs and 5 scrimmages when I did visualize going into my senior year. 5 home runs, 5 scrimmages in my senior year. Game 1, I hit a home run. I stopped doing imagery and visualization. It's a true story. I don't think I've ever told this one here. I did not hit another home run the entire season. My senior year was torturous of how much pain I was in, and in my head, screwing up my entire self-mastery. Jack, that was a huge access point. Thank you, brother.
One other thing, visualization for everyone, really visualize on a daily basis and get to the source of the programming that created the story around money for you. Because at an early age, you created it as a scarcity, fear, like it's over there, it's not for me, whatever that was. Look to get to the access of what that is, resolve that access, visualize, and watch money flow energetically.
Let's go. Jack, Bella, Adam, Fernando, all, thank you. Amazing morning. Have a beautiful day. Money flows to you, as Tony Robbins said in his mantra, his affirmation that I adopted a long time ago. Money flows to you in avalanches of abundance. Money flows to you in avalanches of abundance. It is everywhere. It's an exchange of value. It is energy. Your energy is incredible. Be present and love people. Share and create value. Here we go. Have a beautiful